What is up YouTube and welcome back to another RiftGuides WildRift video. It is time for a new tier list of patch 6.2e I think it is. We never know because of all these adventure only patches, but now we are back to a tier list and a real patch. And just so you know how this tier list functions, because many people misunderstand all the time, number one, champions within the tier are not ordered. The second thing is, the pick of the patch is the highest rated pick, the S tier is the meta, the A tier is off meta, and the B tier are champions you should stay away from. So keep in mind, again, S tier is meta, A tier is off meta, and B tier is stay away from, at least from my perspective. And now let's start with the Baron lane. First up, we have Fiora as the best champion here. She outscales everything, can win everything, but has a few champions that make her life a little bit troublesome in the early game. For example, Warwick and Poppy win early game brutally hard into Fiora if they are competent. But there are a few things that you need to know about Fiora that will level up your gameplay immensely. For example, the vital logic. Fiora vitals spawn bottom left and bottom, and there's obviously another vital spawn pattern that is top and right. So if a vital spawned top or right, the next vital will spawn left or bottom. That way you can already position yourself in a better way to proc all the vitals you have to and know where you have to be, and just snowball everything you have just a tiny bit better. The only real change we've seen here is putting Ryze into the off-meta tier, and a few worthy of note mentions here for the S tier. For example, Jace and Yone are not necessarily S tier champions, but since I don't differentiate between S+, S and S-, I just put them there because they're more than playable and meta champions. But you need to be really careful because you can get absolutely owned by other meta champions and just by getting ganked. So keep that one in mind if you want to play these, and you need super high levels of mastery to make them work consistently. For the tank tier, we have Poppy as the most lane dominant champion you can ever imagine. This champion is just way too powerful in what she does and is just simply unfair. Another worthy of note mention here could be Nasus with the new teleport ghost setup, which makes his laning phase a lot more durable and enjoyable, especially during the phases where you're weak, which is pre-level 5, pre-boots of lucidity and pre-sheen, and therefore get a way better transition into the better stages of your game. Other champions that are super blind pickable and just, well, I'll call them the NPC champions like Garen, Volibear. You have a beautiful time playing these champions, and if you want to abuse the Galio's Aegis right, play Sion, play for tower damage. Royal even made a video about this himself, so. But let's move over to the jungle department. Aatrox still reigns supreme. Yes, he doesn't have the fastest clear, but he has the most insane gameplay loop with the most insane impact if you actually put in the hours to master this champion. Yes, Viego got buffed, Viego's very strong, and therefore we have multiple champions at the top contender spot. For example, for the 80 champions, we have Viego, Riven, Kha'Zix, Aatrox. Then we still have Ambassa as a very good pick. Like, every champion within the S tier is super broken, but there's one thing you notice about the S tier, and that's a very big issue when it comes to AP champions. The only champion that is very, very good here is Lilia. Another champion that can be good can be Evelynn if you get to cheese in duo queue. But they all suffer a lot into all these 80 champions, which makes me actually hope for 80 champion nerfs, but given Riot's recent policies, recent changes, or just overall ideas about how to balance, we see buffs for Pantheon and Xin Zhao all the time, and all the 80 jungles just get stronger and stronger and stronger for no apparent reason, even though they're already good. As for the tank tier, I'm sorry guys, the Rammus champion is still the most annoying champion here. Yes, the nerfs hurt Rammus, but it doesn't hurt his core gameplay loop and what he wants to do. The champion wasn't farming in the first place, the champion was just ganking, taunting, and making sure you die. That was the entire gameplay loop, and that is what the Rammus players get away with all the time. They're basically playing their own game. And with the changes that have happened, it's not enough to put him out of business. So yeah, sorry guys, life stuff, but what can you do? If you want other tank champions, feel free to take a look into the S tier. I still count Mordekaiser and Nautilus as tanks because of, well, place issues. But yeah, you can also play them as a carry. Now let's take a look at the mid lane. We have quote-unquote nerfed Aurora, which basically did nothing. It's not enough and it will not be enough, so stay tuned for more nerfs for this champion. Within the S tier, we have beautiful champions that are just so much better than all the other champions for specific reasons. For example, Morgana completely negates every laning phase. Heimerdinger is an absolute demon king if you learn to actually not start Q and max Q, but max W first. Lux just has no interaction. Orianna and Syndra can choose to play non-interactive entirely and just do not engage into anything. Aurelion Sol is the most absurd level 1 in the entirety of the game, and while Ryze is super broken into melee champions, and Annie is one of these picks that makes you wonder like how this champion can one-shot you consistently, and Zoe has never been really weak, but it mostly was gated by the player's skill level. So you see, all the champions within the ST have their specific usages of why they're broken, why they're good, and they're just better than what is happening in the A tier in a more consistent way. For the assassins, we still have Ahri as the best possible pick, and nothing here has really changed compared to the other lists, so sorry about that one, but maybe some changes in the near future. But if there's something that I would like to highlight, which I said earlier as well, is Katarina. Katarina is like this dark horse that might be very good, but nobody really knows, and we barely see Katarina at all, and I don't really play Katarina myself, so it's harder to make like a proper judgment about this one. But it's definitely a pick that you should keep your eyes on, and depending on what you're playing into and what you're playing with, like for example the most infamous combo used to be a Mumu and Katarina, this could be a very good one you should have on your radar, and if you ever get to play it, please let me know your feedback about this one, because it's pretty good, or at least used to be pretty good. As for the other tier, we have Yasuo as the best possible champion. This champion is completely dominating mid lane into mages, makes life absolutely horrible for anything else, and just does way too much damage with an accelerated scaling thanks to the, well, 2 crit item into 100% power spike of Yasuo and Yone as champions. If there's one honorable mention though I want to say here again, it's going to be Nasus. Nasus wasn't weak, and it's funny to see people argue that now this champion is good again because he gains more stacks, when their previous argument was, but now his early game is so weak. Which is funny because nothing has changed, but now the champion is supposedly good again. Well, anyway, if you want to run Nasus and want to enjoy your time, run him with Teleport and Ghost, and yeah, you'll see that you cannot get pushed out of lane. Thanks to the teleport buffs, this is nearly impossible. Other champions that are higher rated in this department than, for example, in their respective role in the AD carry tier is, for example, Sivir. Sivir can push her leads, get mid lane priority, and just make sure that the enemy jungle has a lot of trouble playing the game, plus you make it very difficult for the enemy to achieve anything because you constantly push out waves. Other champions within the other tier that have been nerfed, but it doesn't have that much of a consequence on the champion in that respective role, given the tier they're in, for example Zilean in the A tier, because he was already off meta and wasn't really picked predominantly in that role, it will make him still stay in A. However, obviously speaking, he's still better in the support role, so you should rather pick him in the support role, but if the champion happens to be open, you should definitely consider picking him up in the mid lane, because you never want to play against this champion. That is the absolute most obnoxious experience next to playing into Bard. Now let's talk about AD carries for a second. Varus got nerfed, but this champion is still absolutely broken. The second champion that comes to mind that's absolutely busted is going to be Ashe, funnily enough. And all the other champions within the S tier follow specific logic. Okay, MF is a very good blind pick that can deal with basically everything and diffuse the lane. Samira wants an all-in, engage-centric champion and just go in. Xayah wants to either peel or have an enchanter with Ghost next to her so she can run people down, otherwise it's a little bit tough. Draven wants to do a Q-Stomp scenario, Lucian wants a Nami, and obviously the Milio. Ashe can be paired with pretty much anything, but you can also play the Freljordian bot lane of Braum and Ashe and you will never move. Jhin is an okay scaling champion, probably one of the weaker ones within the S tier if you pad him up right, but still. Ezreal has most likely the strongest early game, however he has the weakest scaling, I would say, out of all the champions within the S tier, because he doesn't itemize into crit and therefore drops off in value compared to the other champions. But if you play him right, you will snowball to a degree that you will end the game before this happens. Champions within the A tier are off-meta champions. I put Twitch into the A tier, even though he's not really that good. He cannot compete with the S tier champions, but he's still a force that you have to reckon with if he gets to scale. Because again, he's a crit champion, and crit champions, once they hit their critical mass, funny joke, they will actually be useful. As for mages, we still have Ziggs as the best champion here because he has complete wave control, can deny everything once he has boots of mana, and that is the gameplay loop. Any champion here wants boots of mana as fast as possible to clear waves, and then it's all about scaling. So keep that one in mind. My dearest support players, nothing has changed. Nautilus is still the absolute GOAT pick here. Rakan is broken. All the champions in the S tier are super consistent, super annoying to deal with. J4 probably the least consistent one. You want to pick him into low mobility. That is what I have to say here. As for the Protect tier, Milio is still the most annoying piece of Can't say it, that you'll face Nami absolutely busted, Braum overbuffed for whatever reason, because Riot wanted that to happen, and all the other champions like Zillion, Seraphine, like they all have their respective value, purpose, and just what they do and how much they're good into it. And champions within the A tier just serve no real purpose, or the purpose is just weaker. For example, why pick Janna if you can pick Braum? Why pick Morgana if you can pick Braum? Why pick Sona if you can pick Seraphine? Why pick Sona if you can pick Zillion? Like, they have similar purposes, like somewhat similar. Obviously, Sona has more of the sustain component, but Zillion just does it so much better. But don't get me wrong, Sona scales, but Sona still is among the spectator champions, which I really, really dislike if you've watched me for a long time. As for the carry champions, they have released Bard. Bard's absolutely broken. I hope this champion is getting nerfed, but he's not as broken as the Senna champion. This champion is absolutely unreal and needs to be nerfed, similar to Bard, immediately. Like, they nerfed Karma in multiple ways. They nerfed her shielding, and they removed Meteor, which made the AP variant a little bit, well, not a little bit, but still weaker. But yeah, it's still a very interesting thing to see that support champions, on average, can remain so broken for so many patches and still get buffed. Tells you a lot. Anyways, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and come back for more RiftGuides content. Take care and have a beautiful day.